Hello everyone, Minkey here with the third attempt at this video. Hopefully I succeeded this one this time. But today I wanted to go over the last 14 years of sort of my life, if you will, in a general sort of sense. Particularly because 14 years ago today, aka 7 years ago, I started doing Let's Plays and whatnot, and I figured let's talk about a few of them and whatnot, and talk about how, like, you know, give a quick rundown of each of the LPs and whatnot, as well as sort of like an overview of what to expect in the future regarding them, if you will. So yeah, let's have a look. Alright, so in the past 7 years, 13th of March 2018, now I didn't do anything back then to celebrate, if you will. I didn't really think of it at the time. I did do something for the 5-year anniversary, but I'll get into that in a bit. But basically, I didn't do all that much content in the past 7 years, or at least, you know, between the 13th of March 2018 and the end of 2019, when I deleted everything off the channel. Now fortunately I did archive all my stuff, hence why you're getting the LP movies. So at least there's that to look forward to, at least you've got that to look forward to for all that. Now in terms of the last 7 years, I'm not going to go over everything that I did, every little detail that I did. But what I'm going to do, well, I'm going to put up a list of all the content that I've done in the past 7 years. But I'm going to separate it into two sections. There's the current day section, which is stuff that is currently on my channel now, you know, after everything that's gone on, if you will. That's the second section. The first section is everything that I did after the 13th of March, but before the end of 2019. And so that kind of gives you an idea of what kind of content I've done, if you will, in these past 7 years. And just how differently things have been for me, if you will, in that sort of sense. Like, think of this as like a preparation for when all the LP movies are complete. Because, bearing in mind, some of the stuff I don't really want to talk about too much, because it would spoil the LP movies to some degree. Like, I will go a little bit into detail with some of them, but not too much. Also, to point out as well, I am going to do a part 2 to this video as a Minkey Monday. But that video is going to be more so the case of like looking back at some of this content, not watching it, but sort of like talking about what I remember of these LPs in a more nostalgic look at them, if you will, if that makes sense. So, you know, there is that. Now, to add it to the past 7 years, what has gone on in the past 7 years outside of the content? Well, in the past 7 years, since March of 2018, what has happened? Well, for one, I did join a Discord server of a friend that I was friends with, obviously because you're a friend, and I have since left that server because I feel like, I don't know how to put it, basically, I want to be vague about it, but let's just say that it feels like I had to run away for a third time. You know, when it came to that Discord server. I'll just say that. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but just know that that's what happened, basically. Is that I had to run away in the end. What else happened in the past 7 years? I forget when this happened. I think it happened in 2018, but I could be wrong. It could have been 2017. So I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. But I know I went to this asexual conference in 2017 or 2018. I'm sure it would have been after the 13th of March in the year, but if it was in 2017 then it would have been before, you know, it would have been over 7 years ago, but if it was in 2018 it would have been less than 7 years ago. So I know I did that. Heck, it might have been before the 13th of March. That's gonna mess things around a little bit, but I know I did that at some point around 7 years ago. So that's a cool event. I do kind of miss that though. I kind of hope I can do something like that again one day, but I'm not sure at the moment, considering how soon it is after, you know, stuff. Well, after the escape, because like I said, I've escaped for a third time. And yeah, that's another thing, that's another major thing, is that I escaped. You know, that's like a major thing for me. Now, basically this escape, the short of it and the brunt of it, I guess, is back on the 2nd of February 2020, which is a really cool date, by the way. And I'm really glad it landed on this date, because I didn't do anything else on that day. I was planning to do something, but I woke up and I didn't have the chance to in the end. But on that day, I woke up, if you will. Well, I actually woke up from sleep, and I realised, you know what, I need to escape. I need to get out of here, you know, with or without my life, basically. And spoiler alert, I got out there with my life, fortunately. And yeah, so obviously I'm here today, so I'm obviously still doing this today and whatnot, so that's really nice and whatnot. And then obviously, since I've escaped, back in, I think it was the 23rd of September 2023, that's when I started doing Let's Plays again. Or that's specifically when I came back and did something on YouTube again. And then I started LPing again shortly after with my Zelda Let's Play, my Nimpai's and Ocarina of Time Let's Play. What else did I do? I've obviously done other Let's Plays since then. I've started other Let's Plays since then, including a free heart run for Ocarina of Time, which is my first Ocarina of Time challenge run on the channel. I've done free heart runs before for Ocarina of Time, but I've never recorded them. What else have I done? An Emerald Nuzlocke, which I'm currently in the process of recording as well. So there is that. And then I'm doing also Gen 2 8th, which Gen 2 8th, I'll go on a little tangent here about it. So basically, my first ever Let's Play was Pokemon Black 1 8th, which 8th stands for After Elite 4 Extras, so it's basically the post game. And I did that playthrough all the way back when, where I showed out the post game in Pokemon Black 1, and I was going to do more for it, but I ended up not doing it in the end, which I kind of wish I did, but oh well. If anything, I might still have that save file. I don't think I have my team on there anymore, but I should still have my save file basically in the same place as before. I'm not entirely sure, but it wouldn't matter anyway, because I no longer have that Let's Play, unfortunately. Like, out of all the Let's Plays, that's the only one that's not been archived properly. All the other ones have been archived, but this one hasn't, unfortunately. And so, I'm doing Gen 2 8th at the moment. I've already done Gen 1 8th, and then, when I've done Gen 2 8th, I'm also going to do Gen 3 8th. I'm going to do the Gen 1 Remake 8th. I don't know if I'm going to do those two side by side, or if I'm going to do the Gen 1 Remake 8th after the Gen 3 8th. And then I've got to do Gen 4 8th and the Gen 2 Remake 8th, which again, I don't know if I'm going to do them side by side, you know, simultaneously, or Gen 2 Remake 8th after the Gen 4 8th. And then I'm going to do the Gen 5.1 8th, which is going to be on both Black 1 and White 1. And that's the bare minimum of the 8ths that I'm going to do. And I say bare minimum, there's also a bare maximum of 8ths I'm going to do as well, which I'll get into that in a bit as I'm going through all these old Let's Plays. Just know for now that the bare maximum 8th that you're going to get is Gen 3 Remake 8th. That's the bare maximum. And funnily enough, it's not because I'm a Gen 3er. As odd as that may sound, that's not why I'm doing Gen 3 Remake 8th like that. That's not going to be the case, but you'll see why at some point. Now, what else did I do in this time? I did a bunch of videos. I didn't do too many videos in this time. I don't actually know how many videos specifically off the top of my head. If I feel like calculating it, then I will, and I'll put it up on screen. But I know I did another bit of travelling back then as well for a coffee video with my friend Starkiller and his friend on their channel. So there was that as well. That was really fun. I kind of wish I could do that again at some point as well. As well as the asexual conference, but that's yet to be seen for now. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. You know, in this past 7 years, which is kind of sad a little bit that I've not done that much, if you will, in terms of like impressive stuff, if you will, like video creation and the like, if you will. Like, I mean, in all fairness, I've been doing Let's Plays still since I've started 6 Let's Plays since I got back. And I've also been doing Let's Play movies on my archived content, which you can check out in the description, by the way. You can see all my old content. Now, I guess if anything, I can add this, is that I have been collecting like guides and such as well, and mangas and stuff, and you know, similar as well throughout the time that I've been truly escaped. So my collections are growing and growing. I did lose a few when I escaped. Like, I lost a bunch of the Pokemon manga when I had to escape, which really sucks. I kept a few of them, but not enough of a collection, if you will. Like, it looks like I've just jumped on ahead, if you will. But I'm definitely like increasing it back up again. I'm trying to recollect those mangas and whatnot, and make sure my collection goes up proper and whatnot. And I've been playing a lot more games as of late, and enjoying stuff and the like, and so things have definitely improved. I don't know when I'll go into the details of it, but I can at least say this. I beat the original Zelda game for the first time in my life the other day, which I know I'm really late to the party on that, but I did manage to finally beat it after all this time. And I am going to do a video on that. It's just not out yet. I need to edit it. And even then, there's a few other Zelda games, which I'm pretty late to the party on those as well. So, I'm not going to release that original Zelda one. I'm not going to release the first one until I've done the other games as well that I've missed out on. So, there is that. Now, I don't know what else I can really go into at the moment. Like, I know I should be like celebratory, like, yeah, I'm escaped kind of thing, but at the moment, I'm more work kind of thing, if you will. If that makes sense. Like, I'm working a lot more on things at the moment rather than trying to find discussion topics for this kind of thing. So let's instead have a look at the first 7 years of when I've been LPing. So, in the first 7 years, I did a lot of content. I did a lot more back then than I did in the latter 7 years. Although, to be fair, it's not really a fair judgment, considering that, for the most part, for like 3 years and 9 months, I've not even been able to do any content in this latter half. So, that's kind of a take your pick, if you will. Like, obviously, I'll try my best to get numbers here for stats and whatnot, because I really like my stats and stuff. But back then, I did a lot of Let's Plays. Like, my first Let's Play was Pokemon Black 1/8, which we no longer have, unfortunately. But like I said, I'm going to be remaking that anyway, and doing it again, if you will. So there's that to look forward to. I did, like, a lot of my more favourite Let's Plays are back then, if you will. You know, back in the day, although I guess I have improved as of late as well, so I say favourite. I kind of like all my Let's Plays, which I know sounds generic or egotistical, but like, a lot of my stuff, I do have favourites here or there, in some way, shape or form, if that makes sense. With Pokemon Black 1/8, obviously it's the first ever Let's Play I did. Like, yeah, it kind of sucked, but, I mean, it was my first one, you know, so it's like, it's a bit, you know. And then I've got my Dragon Quest Monster Strike 1 casual Let's Play. That one, all the way back when, that one was like my first proper Let's Play, if you will. And I went like above and beyond in that one, I feel like. Like, sure, it was camera recorded, but I feel like that one I went above and beyond in that one, if you will, in some way, shape or form. Or maybe not beyond, but I definitely went above, you know. And especially given how, you know, especially given the time for me as well and whatnot, and, you know, like, I didn't have an editor or anything. I didn't have anything to edit with, really. You know, like, I was still in a bad place in life, if you will, and whatnot, and the fact that I was still able to do such a Let's Play like that, I feel like it's quite impressive in and of itself, if you will. I know that sounds a bit egotistical and whatnot, but it's like, looking back, it's like, I look back at it and think like, wow, I did really well for that. Like, I'm impressed with how well I did, if you will. I got done with the LP movie not too long ago, like about 7 months ago, and it's been out now for a little bit since then, and you know, I was pretty impressed with it, if you will. It's quite the LP, I think. You know, I'm not trying to advertise it or anything. It's just I really enjoyed it, you know. I really enjoyed it myself, to be honest. Another thing to note about this old stuff is that there's a lot of old stuff that's like nostalgia, if you will. And I can't wait to get back to it in one way or another. Like, obviously there's the LP movies that I gotta do. But also there's a lot of stuff to just go over and whatnot. And the like, you know, it's just like... I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to the nostalgia trip, if you will. So, that's something, I guess, to look forward to, if you will, for the Let's Play movies. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, in these first 7 years, like, if anything as well, other than the Let's Plays, is there really anything... There's one incident, if you will, that I can mention, if you will, and that's basically, like, I sort of discovered that one of my friends wasn't actually my friend, if you will, at the tail end of these 7 years. I'm not going to go too in depth into it or anything. I'm not going to really talk about it here because I don't think it's a good place to talk about it. But, you know, at this point in time, I'm actually kind of glad that they've sort of been cut out of my life, if you will, and they're gone, because sometimes I do look back at their channels and whatnot just to see, like, you know, this was someone who I thought was a friend back then, you know, sort of nostalgic bit, if you will, and I think, wow, I am so glad we're not friends, you know, and that's not me trying to put them down or anything of the sort. Just, like, I look at it and think, like, I don't know, I'm just really glad they're no longer in my life, if you will. Like, yeah, I hated the fact that they were doing this complete 180, if you will, and they turned out to be this sort of bad person, if you will. But looking back, I'm actually kind of happy that they're now gone, if you will, in a sense. But at the same time, the person that I thought was my friend, I do kind of miss them still, you know? That kind of thing, you know? And oddly enough, they weren't actually the first person to be like that. Like, on the surface, you might look at them and think like, yeah, that was the first person in Minkey's life to be like that, but no, they weren't. There was at least one other person like that who I had such a connection with, but they turned out to do a complete 180 on me, if you will. But yeah, the past 7 years, the past 14 years, it's been amazing, if you will. Like, all these ups and downs, even the downs, you know, like, I look at it and think, like, I'm kind of glad that things are the way they are now, if you will. You know, like, I'm kind of glad with how things have gone, if you will, for the most part. You know, even if some of it's, like, toxic and whatnot, I'm really glad that I'm still alive and well to this day, and I'm somehow managing to get by and whatnot, you know. It's quite amazing, if you will. Now, this video, I'm not going to go into detail, if you will, with these old Let's Plays. I'm not going to go into really anything about these, but I do want to do a part 2 to it, because today I just wanted to give like a sort of a quick look back at this old content, if you will, to kind of just give you an idea of, like, you know, here's the Let's Play movies and whatnot, you know, that sort of thing. And I didn't want it to go too long, because the other 2 times they went on for like 80 minutes or longer, and I kind of want this to be relatively short. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a part 2 to this at some point. Obviously not for the 13th of March, it's going to be soon-ish, hopefully in April, if not May or earlier, and it's going to be a Minky Monday. And basically in that video, I'm going to go over some of the LPs and whatnot. I'm going to go over like dates and whatnot, and I'm going to go over some topics and whatnot, like some stuff that I owe, if you will, from my old Let's Plays and the like. So think of it as like an update for my old content to some degree, if you will. Like, I'll explain what's going on with each Let's Play, and any sort of like updates I need to give for each one, or, you know, anything of the sort, if you will. That kind of thing. So, yeah, look forward to that. This is part 1 of it, obviously, and then obviously that's part 2. And there goes my phone again. But yeah, on that note, like I said, check out the archive channel for this old content. to check it out. I mean, like I said in the previous attempts, maybe I'm biased. I hope I'm not egotistical, but I'm okay with being a bit biased and whatnot. But to me, all this old content of mine is kind of a treasure trove in its own way, if you will. Like, it may not be perfect, it may be rough around the edges and camera recorded and whatnot, you know, that kind of thing. You know, it may be like that, and to most onlookers, it might just be nothing worthwhile, if you will. You know, they might just think like, yeah, this is not worth my time or whatever, which is fine, I get it. But to me, all this is worth a lot, if you will, if that makes sense. And I think it's still worth something to this day. Even to other people, I think it's at least something, if you will. If not, I mean, nothing valuable, but at least it's something to other people as well, if you will. So yeah, hopefully that resonates with you in some capacity, if just that. One last thing to note before I end this video off today, by the way, is this time next week, there will be a new trailer for another Let's Play I'm going to be doing, similar to the trailers I've done before for my Let's Plays. So look forward to that, and it's an LP that I'm looking forward to, in a way. It's going to be a nice adventure. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to go, but just bear that in mind that there'll be a trailer next week, so I hope you look forward to that as well. Alright, well, on that note, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for watching the Let's Play movies if you're interested in those, or in my other content if you're interested in that. And yeah, I shall see you next time, whenever that will be. Alright, have a minky day, everyone.